My name is Jessica, and I am a private chef. I specialize in cooking for clients with specific diets and dietary restrictions. Have you ever found yourself staring at a delicious recipe only to realize it doesn't quite fit your personal nutrition goals? Today, we are diving into the exciting world of macro friendly cooking, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can transform any recipe to perfectly align with your macros. So let's get started, shall we? Today, we are going to use one of my clients' favorite recipes. It's great because you can cook large batches of it. It tastes great as a leftover. You can portion it out and ready to go. This is the recipe we're going to use. It's braised chicken with lemon and olives, and we are going to make it match our client's macros. If you want to take a screenshot, go for it. I will also include the recipe in the description for you. The first thing you're going to want to know are the macros of the recipe as they are. So what you're going to do is look at the recipe, pull a recipe off of online and get the macros. If the macros aren't there, what you can do is run the ingredients through a macro calculator. If you're good with math and know the breakdowns of the foods, you can do it yourself, or you can run it through ChatGPT. I know ChatGPT is not great. It is a good tool for this. I would recommend double checking everything that ChatGPT gives you because it's not always accurate with anything, but it's a good jumping off point. The breakdown of this recipe as it is 44 grams of protein, 54 grams of fat, 5 grams of carbs, and 665 calories per serving. This is, if you can see without the light there, my client's macros. Daily macros are 1,299 calories, 140 grams of carbs, 115 grams of, uh, oh my God, 140 grams of protein, 115 grams of carbs, and 31 grams of fat. She is on a lower fat, high protein diet. These are macros that were created for her by her trainer. Her breakdown, so this is a dinner recipe. Her breakdown for dinner is 35 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fat, and 265 calories. So as you can see, we need to significantly reduce the fat, and we're pretty good with the protein, but we'll adjust that a little bit as well. So here. Now for the fun part. We are going to take this specific recipe and we're going to break it down. What we're going to use is this handy dandy document that I've created. It is available for download in my Linktree for free. I find the macro calculators and apps really irritating because it's individuals that are uploading the macros and you never know what they're using or what they're talking about. I find it very, very confusing and I hate having to go into my phone to do it. So this macro calculator is for protein. It is based on 100 grams of protein and it has all of the main kinds of protein on here. There may be things missing. If there are, I can always adjust this, but this is free for you to download and put on your fridge. And I just find it so much more useful than one of the apps for keeping track of stuff because I do, and it's really, really useful for batch cooking. So now we are going to do the recipe breakdown. So these are the macros that we want to meet for our client, and these are the macros of our recipe. So we want this to match this. All right. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to break down our recipe. As you can see, the things that are the most off in this recipe are the fats and the calories. Our client needs significantly less fat. So what we are going to do is start with our protein. We are going to switch from chicken thighs, which are very high in fat, and we are going to switch to bone-in chicken breasts. They often come with skin on them, but we're just going to remove the skin. Okay, so we need to make our recipe macros match our client's macros for dinner. So what we are going to do is we're going to look at the document that you're going to download for free, and we can see that 100 grams of chicken breasts equals 31 grams of protein and 3.65 grams of fat. per 100 grams. So what we're going to do is we are going to divide 31 grams of protein by 100 to give us the amount of protein per gram of chicken. So that equals 0.31 grams of protein per gram of chicken. Now we're going to do the same thing for the fat. So we are going to take the 3.6 grams of fat per 100 grams of chicken, and we are going to divide it by 100. That is going to give us 0.036 grams of fat per gram of chicken. Now we're going to break down how much protein, how much chicken we need to have per serving. So we need over here 35 grams of protein. So we're going to take that. So here, 35 grams of protein, and we are going to divide that by 0.31 grams. And that is going to give us 112.9 grams of chicken. That's per serving. So we are going to need 112 grams of chicken per serving. Now we need to check how much fat is in there. So we are going to take, 115. We are going to take 112 grams of chicken, and we are going to multiply that by the amount of fat, so 0.036, and that is going to give us 4.032 grams of fat per serving. Okay, so that significantly reduces the fat and gets our protein right bang on for this recipe. Okay, next step, we are going to figure out the calories per chicken. So we are going to do the same thing. We are going to look at our handy dandy document. We're going to look at chicken breast, and we are going to see that there are 165 calories in 100 grams of chicken. So we are going to first need to find out how many calories per gram of chicken. So we are going to take 165 calories, that's on our document, and we are going to divide it by 100. That is going to equal 1.65 calories per gram of chicken. Now, we need to figure out how many calories per 112 grams of chicken. So we are going to do 1.65 times 112. That is going to give us 184.8 calories. So 184.8 calories. So we can already see that we've got our protein bang on. Our fat has significantly reduced from what it was, and we have gotten our calories way down. Now we need to look at the other ingredients in this recipe. Now we are going to be looking at the fat content of our recipe. Remember, we already have 4.032 grams of fat, and we only need 5 grams of fat in this recipe per serving. So the two things that have the most fat in them are the oil and the olives. So 1 tablespoon of oil equals 14 grams of fat. And the recipe calls for 1 pound of olives, and we're going to break that down into grams. So 1 pound of olives equals 454 grams of olives. Okay, so that equals 30 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of protein. Per recipe, so we are going to divide that by 6 because this recipe is 6 servings. So we're going to take 454 divided by 6. That equals 75.5 grams of olives per serving. Now, we're going to break all of the macros down. So 30 divided by 6 equals 5 grams of fat, 30 divided by 6 equals 5 grams of carbs, and 15 divided by 6 equals 2.5 grams of protein. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to figure out how much fat per gram of olives we will have. So we are going to take 5 grams of fat, that's from over here, and we're going to divide that by 75.5 grams of olives because that's what the per serving amount is on the original recipe. And that is going to give us, 0.062 grams of fat per grams of olives. So we're breaking it down into the smallest common denominator here. Now we are going to take the 5 grams of fat that our client has to meet for her macros, and we are going to minus the amount of fat we already have. So that's 4.032. So 5 minus 4.032, that equals 0.968. So that is how much fat we are able to have play with for this recipe. So now we are going to take the 0.968, that is the amount of fat available that we can use, and we are going to divide that by the 0.0662 grams of fat per gram of olives, and that is going to give us 15 grams of olives. So we are going to reduce the 75 grams of olives per recipe to 15 grams of olives. And this is going to be brined olives, not oiled olives, okay? And we are going to remove the olive oil altogether, and we're going to go with a spray oil like Pam, or if you want to use like spray olive oil, that's fine. But just look at the back and it says half second spray equals none of the calories. So we're going to read the backs of things, right? And so we're going to completely remove the olive oil, and we are going to reduce our olives from 75 grams per serving to 15 grams per serving. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to look at the amount of calories in our olives. So again, we have 454 grams of olives, and that equals 527 calories. So we are going to take 527 calories and divide it by 454 grams of olives, and that is going to give us 1.16 calories per gram of olives. Now, we are going to take the 1.16 and we are going to multiply that by 15. And that is going to give us 17.4 calories per serving. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to see how much fat and carbs we have per olives. So we are going to take the 5 grams of fat that we previously had in our olives, and we are going to divide that by 75.5, which is the amount of olives per recipe, per serving for the recipe. And so that's going to equal 0.066 grams of fat and carbs because it was the same amount. So then we are going to take the 0.066 grams of fat and carbs, and we are going to multiply that by our new amount of olives that we're going to have, and that is going to give us 0.99 grams of fat and carbs per 15 grams of olives. So that's per serving. So that gives us just over 5 grams of fat for this meal, but that's okay because we can reduce the fat slightly. It's okay if we're not exact. Now that we've done all that, we can look at the new recipe. So our new recipe for 6 servings is going to have 672 grams of bone-in, skinless chicken breast, salt and pepper to taste, half a teaspoon of pepper flakes, 6 garlic cloves, a half a teaspoon of crushed fennel seed, 1 tablespoon of chopped rosemary, half of a second spray of Pam, so like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, like that kind of thing. And then 1 tablespoon of chopped rosemary, 2 times Mayer lemons cut into slices, 1 cup of chicken stock, and 3 tablespoons of parsley. And that is going to give us 209.5 calories, 5.022 grams of fat, 35 grams of protein, and 3 grams of carbs. As you can see, we still have a little bit of wiggle room on our calories and on our carbs. So we're going to fill that in with about 75 grams of steamed brown rice done in like a rice cooker and 2 fistful size servings of veggies, not starches, so not like sweet potatoes, carrots, that kind of thing, but like green veggies, white veggies, purple veggies, something like that. 2 fistful sizes, and we're not counting those as our carbs because they have tons of fiber in them and they have nutrients that we need. And so this is how we're going to meet our goals. So that is how you transform a recipe to meet your macro needs and your fitness and health goals. If you are interested in this kind of content, give me a follow, leave me a question or a like, and you can also sign up for my newsletter. I'm going to be starting sending out a curated monthly newsletter that's all about like health and lifestyle and cooking and different stuff like that. It won't be spammy at all. It'll literally just be once a month of really curated content like this kind of thing. And if you have any questions about this or you're confused about anything, drop a comment. See you next time.